To all who come to this happy place, welcome. Disneyland is your land, your land, your land, your land.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Explore the Mouse Podcast, a podcast by Disney lovers for Disney lovers. Come join us as we dive into the wonderful world of Disney.
Please stand clear of the doors. Por favor, manténganse alejado de las puertas.
Here is your host, Eric Bergantes.
In the shadows of Mount Everest, a train awaits. But be warned, those attempting to reach the summit must face him.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Explore the Mouse Podcast. I am your co-host, Eric Legaitis, alongside my beautiful wife, Casey.
Hey, guys.
And that little intro coming in was for Everest.
I didn't know we were doing that. That's so exciting.
Expedition Everest. Well, so just before we started recording, I always kind of go on YouTube and I try to find like fun things. Well, I didn't know this, but they actually had an Expedition Everest commercial, a promo commercial. So I was actually really excited to see that. So I quickly downloaded it and added it into the mix because I just wanted something there to kind of, really show what we were going to do today.
Yeah, no, it's very cool.
So a few episodes back, we talked about our 5 favorite thrill rides. Mm-hmm. And we left out Everest, not because we hate it, but we left out Everest because we knew that we were going to come back and revisit it and give it its own episode.
Yeah, and actually we had both talked about how we both would have put it in our top 5.
Oh, yeah.
So
Everest for
kind
me,
of the opposite of us hating it. It would have been in both of our top 5.
Everest for me would have easily been number 1.
Yeah.
It is by far one of my favorite rides. Ever since I rode it for the first time, it's by far been my favorite ride. But the other reason that we're doing the specific Everest episode is because just a couple days ago on April 7th was the anniversary for Everest.
Yeah.
So we decided, hey, you know what? This kind of lies perfectly with this podcast. Let's give it its own episode.
How many years for Everest?
It opened in 2006.
Okay.
So
13 years.
Yep, so 13
wow.
years.
Jeez.
Which is
I didn't
crazy.
realize Everest was actually that young.
Well, yeah.
In my mind, I feel like it's just been there forever, but...
See, I think it's weird because, to me, I still look at Animal Kingdom itself as a, new park.
Okay, okay.
So for me, it's shocking to see that it's 13 years old already because I'm like, wait a second. The park's not that old.
In our ages.
Well, true.
So Eric and I are a little over a decade apart. So for me, the park's only 13 years old.
Yeah.
I'm like...
And I think for me, too, is that I visited Animal Kingdom not too long after this ride opened. Like I said, it opened in April 7th of 2006. And I think my family did, our family reunion thing that we did. The dumb trip with all the matching shirts. Sorry, Heather.
I was just going to say, there were matching shirts, you guys.
Oh, I'll see if I can try to find some photos.
100 people.
It wasn't 100 people. I'll see if I can try to find a photo of us in matching shirts. It was pretty impressive. Oh, and dresses. The women were wearing the dresses. The guys were wearing the shirts. So
yeah, that's really fun.
But anyways, that was the first time that I got to ride Everest, and that was just after it opened. So for me, it was really cool. And what's even cooler for me is that I was actually able to see the Yeti before it was no longer animatronic, which we'll talk about.
I was just about to ask you.
Which we'll talk about.
Wow.
Because there was a lot of background. So I did get to see the Yeti, which was really, really cool.
I was going to ask you that. Okay, cool.
Yeah. But just as always, we like to open up the show kind of with some new Disney news. It might not be new to you, but it's new since our last episode came out.
Kind of current events. I
Yeah,
guess.
it's current events, especially since the show's week to week. We like to give you some new stuff. One of the small things on this newscast is Bo Peep is getting her own meet and greet at the Disney parks this summer.
Aww.
In honor and in anticipation of Toy Story 4.
Good old Bo Peep.
Which I think is cool because I don't think I've ever seen Bo Peep, like the actual character for a meet and greet.
No. But I think, just from the trailer from Toy Story 4,
She seems to be
like,
a big part.
Well, not only a big part, but like she's totally
Badass.
coming to her own. Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, yeah, I don't know. And if you haven't checked out the trailer, A, I don't know why. Go away. And B, now go watch the trailer and then come back.
Well, especially the newest trailer, the one that they released during Dumbo.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. That's where it kind of showcases like
it showcases
her
Bo Peep big time.
badassery. Yeah.
Now, my biggest question is the meet and greet going to be old Bo Peep in her big dress or the new outfit? I hope it's the new outfit.
No, I'm sure it's going to
Especially because they're going to be doing it for Toy Story 4. They probably want her looking like she does
I
Wool
was
in the movie.
thinking of her in her big poofy skirt.
I know, but they're doing this in anticipation for the...
Yeah, you're right.
We'll see.
We'll see.
We'll go with that. Another big news, which I'm excited about, because when we go in a couple weeks, I get to try it, is the lime margarita Dole Whip.
Okay, so I also heard that there's like a vodka Dole Whip.
There is.
Drink.
You can get Dole Whip.
Isn't there supposed to be like a mimosa Dole Whip?
Yes, so you can get the mimosa Dole Whip at which we can
things.
try that too. We can get that at Disney Springs, which is at Bar George.
Oh,
Yeah.
Okay.
So we can try that one because
a Dole Whip a day.
Well, because Dole Whip is at Disney Springs now. You can get the regular Dole Whip or alcoholic Dole Whips. So the mimosa one is at Bar George.
Okay.
So I'm really excited about that one. But
So
the
then the margarita-
lime margarita one is at the Polynesian.
Okay.
So I do plan on basically taking a boat ride over to Polynesian and going to get that thing for sure.
We're going to be park hopping. I mean,
resort
hopping.
Yeah. So I'm really excited about that one. Another big one. I don't know. I'm gonna leave the big one for last. I think.
Okay.
The one thing I want to talk about is coming to Animal Kingdom, which is what we're going to be talking about today. Is Animal Kingdom, which I think is going to be really cool. It's called the Circle of Flavors, and it's going to be a event coming this summer to Animal Kingdom where it's basically kind of like a food tour on the train that you can ride at Animal Kingdom.
Hello. Yes. Sign me up.
So you start at the Harambe Market at the Harambe Station, where you basically get like appetizers and stuff like that.
Yep, I'm
and
in.
then you board the train and go to the next stop where you get like your dinner type of stuff, and then you go to the last stop, which is like your desserts.
Oh, I'm definitely in. Yep. Okay. Sign me up.
And it's gonna be really cool. Oh, I'm sorry. The second stop is Rafiki's Planet Watch. That's where the second one's
I'm still
gonna
in.
be.
I'm still there. Yeah. Sounds good.
So to be specific, if you guys are interested in doing this, it starts at the train station Harambe, and you'll receive light hors d'oeuvres, snacks, and beverages, alcoholic and non-alcoholic, which is a good one. And then when you arrive at Rafiki's Planet Watch, they don't really say what you're going to get, but they say that you're going to be greeted with more food and drinks. So I do know that because it sounds like they're doing like a big thing where you kind of get course and course. I'm assuming the second stop at Rafiki's is going to be dinner.
Probably.
Even though they just said more food.
What do they call those? Progressive dinners?
Sure.
Yeah, that's what it's called.
Yeah.
I don't know why I asked you. Yep, it's called a progressive dinner. Yep.
But the cool thing too is that at your second stop, Rafiki's Planet Watch, you get to meet Timon and Rafiki, which is going to be really cool too. And then it'll also have some interactive games for all the kids and stuff, which I think will be really, really nice for them. And some of the food they listed, and if you wanted to, you can go to Disney Parks and look this up. But some of the food they posted looks amazing. Some of the I can't even speak. Some of the desserts looks amazing. Some of the food is just
Oh, wow, they do look good.
and it's not just like crappy food. I mean, it's like. Well, I'm not. You're not going to get like a turkey leg or a corn dog. I mean, you're getting like plated,
the man
professional.
Who likes for a turkey leg.
I love my turkey legs. Don't get me wrong.
Anyways, this sounds cool.
It begins. Well, I got to tell them when it begins.
Oh, okay.
It begins on July 24th, and the pricing is a little expensive, but for the experience, I think it's worth it. Pricing is $125 plus tax for adults and $99 for kids. I know it's pretty crazy, and you have to reserve your spot for that
Still
one as
sounds
well.
really cool though.
Now, the coolest thing, this is what I'm excited about news-wise, is this summer from June to August, Disney's Extra Magic Hours at Walt Disney World, villains are taking over. So for the longest time, a lot of people have always wondered about like villains. Like people even said like, I wish they had their own villain park or their own villain like area. Well, the villains are at least taking over for a couple months, which I think is going to be really, really cool. Starting June 6th to August 8th, select nights.
So let me ask you, is this a special extra ticketed event?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this is similar to, if you're not familiar with what like the difference between extra magic hours and special ticketed events are. This is similar to Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween
Correct.
Party. All the other, okay, yep,
Correct.
good job, Casey. Yeah, A+ for me. Okay,
She'll be here all week, folks.
So it is. So you
it's
get
not-
to stay in the park for extra hours, but you do pay. But they usually provide.
Hold on, but it's
things.
not. It's not like the typical after out like extra magic hours.
Oh.
It's not extra magic hours. It's that new Disney after hours thing that they do.
You said magic hours.
Did I say magic
Yeah,
hours?
that's
I apologize, folks. It
maybe
is.
not.
It
Maybe
is
I just
Disney.
made that up.
Maybe you did. It's Disney after hours, and
Okay.
it's a new thing that Disney does, where you can go into the park for a special event after the park closes.
Okay, but so that's similar to
Correct.
like Not So Scary
Yes.
Halloween Party.
So it is.
Okay.
Yeah, it is a special ticketed event starting June 6th to August 8th, select nights. And the cool thing is that you get all new exclusive entertainment, all like new food and beverages, plus new merchandise only for that event.
Oh, it sounds so cool.
Which the thing is, when you do the like scary, Not So Scary Halloween Party or Mickey's Christmas Party or like the after hours, the cool thing is that you only can get these merchandise items and these food items that night. They withhold everything until the gates are closed, and then they start bringing everything out. And I think it's a really, really cool thing, especially to pay that extra money, because there's people that are never going to get these opportunities to get this stuff on Disney shops. It's exclusive to these events, which is really cool. So just to give you a little bit of an update of what you're going to get inside of that, is that they're having a brand new Disney villain stage show with all your favorite villains.
Very cool.
Hades, Jafar, the Queen, Maleficent. Are you happy I said that right?
I was just about to say, good job. You said it right.
I am horrible at
He always
saying
calls her-
Maleficent, but I just said it.
There you go, guys. That's what he calls her, and it drives me nuts.
Maleficent. And then you're also going to have the dragon, which is going to be cool too, which you can see at the parades, but I think they're going to bring it out for more special type of stuff.
I think it's a really cool concept.
And then one of the other cool things that I think is going to be awesome is that they're also turning over some of the rides for this after hours into villain inspired, including Pirates of the Caribbean and Space Mountain.
What's that now?
Yeah.
What?
Yes.
Okay, I did not know that.
Yeah. So if you're going to be going to this event and you ride, actually, I mean, let's say you ride it before the park closes, Pirates of the Caribbean will look different an hour later for this after hours with villains in it.
Shut
Yeah.
the front door.
Yes.
Wow.
So,
Oh, wow. That's
definitely
really exciting. Oh.
Yeah, so definitely do this if you have the money, because it does cost $139 plus tax in advance, $144 plus tax on the day of the event. If you're an annual pass holder or a DVC club member, you can get the tickets for $109.
Ooh.
And they go on sale on April 29th. So,
Oh, these are going to sell out so fast.
I guarantee it's gonna.
It's going to be, it's going to be sold out.
I wish we can go to it. Unfortunately, that is like the busy time for Casey's work. So our trip that we're making down there, before the summer is going to be kind of like our last one until after the summer's
We'll
over.
have to send some spies in and ask for pictures.
Or I may just have to sneak down there. Anyways, let's get to the topic at hand, and that is Expedition Everest.
Happy anniversary, Expedition Everest.
Let me just tell you how.
What a sweet little 13-year-old.
Let me just tell you how in love I am with this roller coaster.
No, I mean, I know.
So
I'm very aware.
So a little bit of background. Like I said earlier, is that I got to ride this ride when it was fairly new.
Mm-hmm.
Casey, however, has never ridden the ride until we
had never ridden the
ride until we went to Animal Kingdom. I think it was last year. No,
it was like
maybe the year before.
Yeah, it was like 2 years ago.
And
Maybe
we went to Animal Kingdom because we wanted to go see Pandora.
Yeah.
And, so we walked through Pandora, did all that stuff, watched the Lion King show because I told Casey she had to see it.
No, I had seen that. The Lion King show.
Oh, you did see the Lion King?
Yeah.
Oh. I thought you just cried because it was your first time.
Every time.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I cry because they're wonderful performers. I'm going to cry thinking about it.
So, we went around, we did the Cali River Rapids, and then we get over to Everest. And I was like, let's go check out Everest. And Casey turns and goes, I've never ridden Everest.
Yeah, I
was like, wait,
I
what?
didn't even know what it was.
I was shocked.
Like, I was like, oh, cool. Is this like Matterhorn? I don't know.
Shocked and maybe appalled. So anyways.
Fair enough. Now having had done it, like, fair enough.
Yeah. Now, thanks to Pandora and Flight of Passage being so ridiculously long, we went when the park first opened. So everyone jetted straight to Pandora, and there was like a 6-hour wait for Flight of Passage.
Yeah, it was crazy.
So we pretty much had the park to ourselves. We walked down every single ride that we did. So we get to Everest, and I was like, let's get all the way to the front. And I asked her, I said, could we have the first row? And the lady goes, all right, we'll stand over here in this other line.
Yeah.
With, I think, not even a minute.
Yeah.
And then they were like, okay,
we
go
waited
first row.
2 cycles.
Because first off, if you ever ride this ride, you have to do it first row, especially if it's your first time. If it's your first time, you have to do first row. So anyways, Casey got to experience this ride with me for the first time, which I think was really, really awesome. Now, the cool thing about this ride, and this is the reason I wanted to give this ride like its own, kind of show or episode, is because this ride was not only like a technological marvel to build, it was the most expensive roller coaster ever to be built by Guinness Book of World Records.
I did know that.
Do you know how much it was?
$100 million.
Yes.
Wait, I was right?
Yeah. $100 million.
I feel like I knew that number at one point. I just didn't know.
It was $100 million for 6 years of planning and construction.
Jeez.
It is the tallest official mountain in all of Walt Disney parks and Disney's 18th mountain-themed attraction.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh. I did not know they had that many mountain-themed attractions.
Oh, Space Mountain.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Matterhorn, Big Thunder Mountain.
Splash Mountain.
Splash
okay,
Mountain.
Yeah, no, there's a lot. Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
What else is there?
Well, and if you think of, there's 2 Space Mountains. There's
they're
2
called,
Big
okay.
Thunder Mountains. There's
They're
2
talking
Splash
about,
Mountains.
I see.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. I was trying to think, I was like, wait, there's not that many mountains, but they're talking about
There's
across
like
all the
one,
parks.
and that's just the United States. Yeah.
Yeah. So anyways, it was, like I said, it broke a lot of records. And just not only that, there is just like so much that went into the detail of the ride.
Oh yeah,
and the
queue?
animatronic, original animatronic. The queue
I'm
itself.
about the queue, yeah. I heard developers actually went over to Nepal.
They did.
And like took inspiration back and even some, I don't know, things.
Well, no, that's what they did.
I don't know the word.
Well, like I said, they did 6 years.
Decor.
They did 6 years of research and construction.
Yeah.
So what Disney did and there's a lot of things too. Like whenever you look at what Epcot with all the countries, and you look at everything else that they do, that they go and they really, really kind of immerse
themselves. Oh, wow.
Jinx.
That was weird. That was weird.
They immerse themselves in the culture of where they're at, and that's what they did for Everest. Is these Disney Imagineers went over to Nepal and literally like dove right in. They didn't just like go for a couple days and take up pictures. They literally like immersed themselves into the culture, immersed themselves into like the villages that were on the side of Everest, because the Everest is it's an amazing like mountain in general. If you look at it, not even just from like a climate aspect, you look at like the people that live on side of the mountain and the culture of how they, like how they survive. It's impressive. And Disney really wanted to bring a lot of that to the park, which I think they did.
Did you know?
I've never been to Everest, but
yeah. I've seen a picture. It's okay.
Yeah.
Did you know that the mountain in Did you know
Take 2.
that the mountain in Expedition Everest is not even Mount Everest?
Really?
Did you know that?
No.
It's a mountain called the Forbidden Mountain, and it's a made-up mountain. by
Really?
the Disney Imagineers.
What? Mm-hmm. See, I don't have that in my notes.
I don't know why it's called Expedition Everest if it's not about Mount Everest. I assume it's like same area. But no, it's called the Forbidden Mountain, and that's why the Yeti lives there.
Interesting.
Yeah, because he doesn't live on Mount Everest. Why can't I say Mount Everest?
I don't know. It's kind of like me saying Maleficent.
What is going
which
on?
I'm really killing it
Mount
today, by the way.
Everest.
But yeah, so that's a fun fact. I didn't actually have that written down, which is really cool.
No, it's the Forbidden Mountain.
Very cool. Yeah. Wow, that's awesome.
Okay, so you were talking about the animatronics. Let's talk about that.
Okay,
So
yeah, let's
when it
go.
first came out.
Let's go talk about the Yeti, because the Yeti was. So there's actually a really cool documentary that Discovery Channel did about Everest. So if you guys ever want to check it out, go to YouTube and write in Discovery Channel Expedition Everest, and you'll find the documentary. I've watched it like a million times.
I haven't. I want to see it.
We'll watch it. We'll watch it later. I should have made you watch that before we did this, but that's
Yeah,
cool.
that would have been good. I just really like to come in here unprepared. Everybody loves it because they like when I say, I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know.
I'm thinking about putting that on a T-shirt, by the way.
I don't know.
I don't know. So the animatronic, that thing was literally like a marvel of technology that they never done before. Because if you look at all the animatronics,
they had never done making a Yeti?
Well, that scale.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I wasn't sure what we were.
Oh yeah, I'm talking about the scale of the Yeti, because you think about it, like the animatronics that Disney has done, they've been smaller scale.
That's
true. Human size. I think the Yeti is by far the biggest one that they have ever done.
Oh yeah, no, I mean he's huge.
So these are the dimensions. This is why I'm saying it's a whole technological marvel. It's 25 feet tall. Okay.
It's casual.
Yeah. Its skin, if you lay the skin out of the Yeti, measures 1,000 square feet, which is pretty much like our apartment. A little bit smaller than our apartment.
Think about Yeti skin being laid out, but okay.
It's held in place by 1,000 snaps and 250 zippers.
Holy bananas!
Yeah.
Now I know why.
Now
I'm not going to give away what I was going to say.
Now the original Yeti was a complete audio animatronic. The movements, the voice, everything about it. They worked forever on this thing, and it was the largest and most complex one they have ever done in the history of Disney, and probably the biggest one that. Honestly, I don't think they'll ever do an animatronic like this again because of the failure.
Right.
Which we're getting into.
We're trying not to say it, but we're saying it.
Its movement was controlled by 19 different actuators, and unfortunately, a few months after the ride opened, the Yeti's figure framing split. So basically, it kind of and it was threatening a huge malfunction.
Yeah.
So Disney had to stop it, which, by the way, I guess I never really looked at when I was there, because I saw it working, and it's saying a few months. So I must have been
you must have seen it right after.
I must have been one of the last people to see this
April,
thing.
And you went
in September.
Yeah.
So I might have been one of the last people, because I did see this thing
5 months after it was open. Yeah.
So that's pretty cool. I did not ever really look at that tidbit, which is kind of cool.
Well, you're so cool in your matching family shirts. By the way, guys, they were not just t-shirts. They were Hawaiian shirts. So, just had to put that one out there.
Leave us alone.
Okay.
It was my sister's idea. And she's probably going to be listening to this, so she'll probably be calling me after this. But yeah, so anyways, the Yeti pretty much
he stopped working.
Yeah. So, but Disney did try to do a refurbishment on it, because they did spend so much time and so much money into the Yeti.
I was supposed to say money, yeah.
That they did try a refurbishment on it, and unfortunately
Womp womp.
Unfortunately to their dismay, is that it pretty much was beyond fixing.
Okay, but what they do with him now is pretty cool. I mean, I still found it to be terrifying. It's still 25 feet tall.
Now it's basically earned its name now as the Disco Yeti is the name of it, because in order to kind of still make it scary, they obviously can't make the Yeti move anymore. Is they basically just put a bunch of strobe lights and disco lights around it, so as you're coming up to the Yeti, it's just this big, disco party.
Chaotic for your eyes.
Yeah, so people
It's
started
scary.
calling it the Disco Yeti.
That's a very fitting name for him.
Oh yeah, it's really, really cool. But that was the actual Yeti itself. Now the actual mountain itself, though, I think is like where the coolest. I think the coolest part of it comes from is now that I know that it's not really Everest, that they called it Forbidden Mountain. But the actual, like I said, Imagineers, they went and they did like a bunch of like 4D scaling of actual Everest, which they ended up bringing back and kind of uploading to the computer system to really help build this. And look, can I just tell you how cool of a job that would be? It would be to be a Disney Imagineer and just being like shipped away to all these like really cool places to just do research.
Yeah, I think that would be so cool. But
I don't even know how you become a Disney Imagineer.
First of all, you still probably have to have an engineering degree just to do that.
Well, I'm sure you do. I mean, you're dealing with some, massive, I don't even know what you want to, massive projects, So yeah, you probably definitely have to have an engineer degree and other stuff, but it was pretty cool. But the guy that was in charge of it was John Rode, and this guy's really cool. And a lot of people have seen him before because whenever he's kind of like the more like popular Imagineer for Disney. A lot of people look at him, and he had a lot to do with like Animal Kingdom in general. With
John, I know John.
Actually, you probably would if you saw him. He like wears like feathers in his hair, and he has like these like little like he's very like hippie-ish.
Love it.
But he's done a lot of stuff too. Like he had a big hand in like creating like the vehicles for the safari ride.
Oh, got it.
And stuff like that. So he actually had a big hand in a lot of stuff all across Disney, but especially with Animal Kingdom. And he still to this day thinks that the Yeti will be fixed.
Okay.
I don't know why, but he still thinks it. In 2013 at the D23 Expo, he still said it. He's like, one day that Yeti will, move again. And I think it would be cool if it moved again. I really hope it does. But
that's just like a lot of zippers to get through. I don't know, and a lot of skin.
Well, let's go back because I don't want to pass this up, but let's go back and talk about the queue and just the ride experience itself because you did talk about the queue and.
You to bring up the queue again.
Oh, well, there it is. The queue is brought up.
Because I don't think that this feature was a feature when we went, or maybe we just didn't pay attention. And they've been doing this with more rides now, that they're kind of like, because of the technology with the Magic Bands, they can capture the names of people that are waiting in line, and they put them in the queue. So like in Everest, there's a couple areas where it's like a news article and it's a quote on someone's opinion on a certain kind of rice or something. It's just like silly things, but they put like people who are actually in the line in the queue, like their name as the person who like reviewed this rice. So like it's if we were like standing in line and we had our Magic Bands on and it would say like, "This is my favorite rice ever. It's wonderful. Better than basmati. Eric Lagaikis."
That's interesting.
Yeah, and they're doing this more and more in some of the other queues as well.
And I think the last time we rode Everest, there literally was no wait. We walked all the way through the queue.
Oh, that's another thing I wanted to talk about.
So maybe we didn't have a chance to really look because the thing is,
we did kind of run through it.
The queue is really, really interactive, and and what I mean interactive is because like from when I first rode it, they didn't have all the computer screens and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It was just really cool because the Imagineers brought a lot of stuff back from Nepal. Like just really cool artifacts and really cool things that they got. And it was really cool because you're walking through and you're seeing these things, and there was things about people that have trekked Everest, and the people that have done it, the people that unfortunately haven't, and lost their lives trying to do it. They honored a lot of people in this ride, and it was just a really cool queue. But unfortunately, I guess maybe we just ran through it too quickly.
I think we did.
So that would be something next time, is that even if the line's short, maybe we should take a little bit more time.
No, I would just do it once and then loop back around and then take my time the second time.
Well, that's true, especially if the ride was only, 15 minutes for us?
Yeah.
Which I think, again, Everest is one of those, if it's like a 15-minute ride, it's pretty much a walk-on.
Yeah.
The 15 minutes is basically you walking through the queue and waiting maybe 5 minutes to board the train.
Yeah.
So I think that's a really cool thing, too.
One other thing that I was going to talk about with the queue, I guess. I don't know that it's really about the queue. But from what I've read, I don't know, the marathon track for the Walt Disney, the normal race. What's that one called?
What, the big one in January?
Yeah.
That's just the Walt Disney World
Okay.
Marathon.
So for the marathon, the track kind of runs right through that area. Mm-hmm. And if you time it correctly, you can actually, with the park opening, jump on Everest and then get back into the marathon.
Really?
I've read about several people that have done it. So it just takes a couple minutes, but if you don't care about your time, who cares?
Which
so
is
people
me.
are like, you can like literally jump into the ride, go on the ride, and then jump right off and hit back into the marathon.
How cool would that be?
I would totally do that.
I would.
I would consider doing the marathon just to
Because
say that I did that and then jumped on a
you
roller
and
coaster.
I are those people that, like we saw in Hollywood Studios, that would jump out of the marathon and grab a beer.
Oh, go grab a beer, for
you know?
sure.
And
For sure.
definitely, if I could like jump off and do a ride real quick and jump right back into the
Yeah.
race, of course I would. That's
Yeah.
so freaking cool.
Yeah.
Okay, we're gonna have to start training for that, by the way, because I really want to do that now.
Okay.
So yeah, let's get on that. But yeah, so the queue again. Plus this is actually a single rider ride as well.
Oh.
So if you're there and if you're by yourself, and here's a fun tip too that I like to give people. So many people when they go, they want to do these rides like together. They're with a friend or they're with a spouse or whatever it may be.
Yeah, screw them.
Honestly, if you're going to do the single rider, do the single rider, because the truth is you guys both may get on that same train. You just may not be
cares?
with each other, and you cut your time literally in half when you're doing a single rider.
Yeah.
My advice to you is, if you have a single rider and you don't really care about sitting next to the person that you're with, just both do the single rider and get it over with. It is 10 times better. But yeah, so the queue itself starts in the office of the fictional Himalayan Escapes travel agency. And then, like I said, then you kind of go through the Yeti Museum and all that stuff. And then I was talking about the artifacts earlier, and there are actually 8,000 artifacts that they brought back from Nepal.
Wow.
Which I think is pretty amazing.
That's a lot.
Another tip though too, that if you do the single rider, it skips all the exhibits. So if
maybe
you
do it once as a single rider and then come back. Wait
now
in
the-
line together.
Now the ride itself, let me just tell you, you board the train, and it just has a little short drop, and then you get into the lift, and the lift is amazing. Because the ride itself, the whole height of the ride is 199.5 feet.
Jeez.
And the longest drop is 80 feet, which is huge. And that's the drop that comes out of the cave. And the speed is 50 miles an hour, and the ride itself is a little over 4,000 feet in length.
Wow.
And it lasts about
That's 4 Yeti skins.
And it lasts about 2 minutes and 50 seconds.
2 minis.
2 minis and
2 mini
50
50
seconds.
Okay.
But so the cool thing about the ride itself is like the first little tidbit. So you go inside the mountain, and if you ever watch the ride from the outside, you'll see this really cool kind of I guess timing. I guess you can say a timing effect that Disney does.
Yeah. Sorry,
it's like a timing effect that Disney does, and it's where as one car is going up this like little area, and you've probably seen videos if you've seen the ride where you go up and it looks like the track has been ripped apart by a Yeti.
It really has, you guys. You should be scared.
They have this really cool effect where as the train car starts going back into the mountain backwards, a train car is coming out normal down that big 80-foot drop, which I think is really cool.
It's pretty cool.
And the inside is really unique, and this is why I love doing the front row. And Casey can vouch because I made her do the front row. Is when you're in the front row, you get to see a lot of the cool stuff. You know, you're the highest when you get to the broken track.
Yeah.
when you go backwards and the track rotates, so you can go down like a whole different new track system.
Yeah.
You kind of see all that stuff first, which I think is really, really, really cool.
Yeah, and typically I'm a back row kind of girl because I think you get the most speed in the back row, and that's what I'm, there for. But I will agree. I did enjoy being front row for this.
And I lied. It's not. The effect is not when the train is going up the broken track. The effect is when you have a train car of brand new people going up the first lift. When that car disappears, a train comes out of one of the drops. So
Gotcha.
it looks like the people that going up the lift immediately comes back down, and it's totally not.
Gotcha.
Which I think is kind of part of the magic of this ride.
Yeah.
It really kind of
There's a lot of really cool elements to this ride.
Oh yeah.
And it's a really great thrill ride.
So, there's probably so much more we can talk about Everest. We can, if we wanted to, we can probably get into detail with a lot of Imagineering and their trip to Nepal and stuff like that. And again, we don't, get any monetary stuff for this. I think the best way to really experience Everest that we're talking about here is to go check out that Discovery Channel, special.
I'm gonna go watch it.
And like I said, it's simple. You can go find it on YouTube. There's like several different versions of it, and you just type in Discovery Channel Expedition Everest, and it'll pop right up. And let me tell you, it is probably one of the coolest little documentaries of something, because, and Casey can vouch, and she can say, I'm addicted to watching like Disney based like documentaries or
Anything. Not even documentaries, YouTube videos.
Or Travel Channel. Oh, man. Do you remember Samantha Brown on the Travel Channel? Have you ever seen?
Nope.
So there was a woman on Travel Channel, Samantha Brown, and she used to do all these Disney things where she used to go with Travel Channel to all these Disney parks, and she would get like behind the scenes and
What? That's so cool.
oh yeah, really cool stuff.
Oh.
And like even one part, like she would like. I remember she like went to Disney Springs and got to go behind the scenes of Cirque du Soleil and stuff like that. And that was her job. She literally traveled with Travel Channel and did stuff like that and did a bunch of Disney. So I used to be addicted to those shows. I still am, but I have to watch them on YouTube.
You still are.
I have to watch them on YouTube now, unfortunately, because none of them are on TV. But go check it out on YouTube, and it is just a really amazing thing. And if you have never ridden it, get your butt over to Animal Kingdom and ride it.
Get your Bahootie over there.
Because Animal Kingdom itself is really cool, and we've talked about that in
I
other
think it's
episodes.
underrated as a
It's
park.
totally underrated.
Yeah.
I didn't like it for the longest time, and then
Agreed.
when we went back, like I said, like a year and a half, 2 years ago, I had a whole newfound appreciation for that park.
Yeah.
And it probably is like one of my favorite places to visit now.
Yeah.
And definitely, like I said, Everest is the mainstay of that whole park. So check it out, and I promise you will not be disappointed.
Yeah.
So we want to thank you for listening, and I know it's kind of a subtle little podcast, but want to thank you for listening, and we are going to be coming at you guys very soon with a whole new batch of podcasts. We are working on all of our future episodes coming up.
Very, very exciting.
Because April 15th is our last scheduled episode, which you can find at explorethemouse.com. So we are working on a ton of new material. We are actually, should we tell them where we're going Wednesday? Yeah, why not?
I forgot. I don't even know where we're going Wednesday.
Wednesday, Casey and I have been given access to Disney's DVC Resort on Hilton Head Island.
Yeah.
So we're going to be going there on Wednesday to tour the property and look at a bunch of different stuff. And we're going to kind of take down some notes for a podcast.
Yeah.
But more importantly, we're going to be doing for a YouTube channel.
Yeah, we're super excited.
Because we're trying
really
to get our
nice that they're letting us do this.
Very
I
nice.
Can't wait to walk the grounds. And
the guy that I talked to on the phone was so pumped when I told him that we wanted to come.
Everyone's so friendly, of course. It's the same, it's that magic bubble. We just happen to have one fairly close to us.
Which I'm really excited about. But yeah, we're going to be working on a whole bunch of new material for our YouTube channel and the podcast and all of our social media coming up. So I'm really excited about that. So stay tuned for all of those fun things.
Yeah.
And I think that's about it. Anything else you want to add?
Nope, that's it. Go
ride
to Everest.
Well, thank you guys so much for listening, and we'll see you next week.
Sounds good. Thanks, guys.
Thank you for listening to Explore the Mouse podcast. We invite you to fill your week with everything Disney by checking us out on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Explore the Mouse. Also check us out at explorethemouse.com, where you can find amazing photos from our trips, our blogs, and information regarding upcoming episodes. Have a magical day, and we'll see you next week.